Yes, just be still for a moment. So I've worked in I won't spend too much time on myself and my background, but I've worked in the holistic field now for, this will be my 22nd year. And it's really evolved over those 22 years. I started out with biofeedback and herbs, vitamins, minerals, Bach flowers, things of that sort. The biofeedback equipment I had was really fantastic. But over these 22 years, I've really evolved more from addressing the body and what appears to be the problem, like a virus or a bacteria or a fungus or a chemical or a heavy metal, and evolved more into our consciousness and how we're seeing the world and what our perception is, because we don't have a problem, we only have a perception problem. And that perception problem is really based on what we're holding in the subconscious mind. And that subconscious mind, unfortunately, is mostly just the leftover software from the people that we're closest to in our lives, our parents, our siblings, our teachers, and we adopted a lot of their reactions to life. And I'm just going to, in a moment, I'm going to turn on my screen share here for the PowerPoint that I presented. And so over that period of time, one of the first modalities that took me more into mind-based, spiritual-based transformation was a process called Psych-A. That's spelled Psych-A, Psychology Kinesiology, developed by a man by the name of Rob Williams. And that was really transformative for me personally, and I saw immediate results with the people coming to see me around limiting beliefs. And these perceptions that we have, they're just downloads. And what they have created within us are limiting beliefs about our unlimited potential and possibility. And if we can identify those and use this simple process called Psych-A to transform the subconscious mind, then it doesn't have to take years in order for us to get over stuff. So that was around, I can't remember the year, I think maybe around 2005, someplace in around there. And then around 2012, I introduced tapping into my practice, and that was another quantum leap into making some really quick changes and really collapsing down stress and fear and guilt and shame and blame, all of those things that we so easily embrace in our life, that we really aren't that. We are the perfect idea in the mind of God. And it's remembering that. It's sort of just always coming back to remember who we really are. And we are not our personality. We're not that self that's been made up by that software that has been passed down to us by other people. And so tonight, I'm going to show you how to identify, change some limiting beliefs. And in the process of doing that, I'm going to teach muscle testing. Now, some of you that are on tonight may know how to muscle test, and I'm not too sure if I could let me see if I can get a different view here. Get a sort of a more of a gallery view. Oh, I don't have everybody's picture, so that won't work too well, but that's okay. If you know how to muscle test, then you won't need to pay too much attention to that part, and I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it, but I'm just going to give you some simple little skill sets in order for you to identify when you're holding on to an unconscious belief that does not serve you. And I'm going to give you some examples of what those would be. So just give me 1 second here. I'm just going to go on to my screen share. And yeah, so this will be interactive. and it will help you to change your vibration. So as I said in the title of this talk, change your vibration, change your life. And just a minute. And so I just want to thank you for being here. And you'll notice how I've printed the words being. Just being here. And for a moment, for all of you that are here right now, just take a deep breath. Feel the chair underneath of you. Feel your feet on the ground. And what I'm going to do, even though this isn't about tapping, I'm going to give you something that will help you to be present. So if you can follow along with me, on the side of the hand, just below the tiny finger, tap there, and I will say the words for you. I want to be here and now. I just want to be still. I want to be in this present moment. And then under the nose, I will be here. I will leave the outside world and all the events of the day. So it's right above the upper lip, just below the nose. I will leave all the events of the world out there. And I will just sit in my peace and calm here and now, middle of the chin, just below the lower lip. I am here and now. I am still. I am. So just sort of to bring that just right in here, because there's so much going on. I think I've probably only watched about 15 minutes of news in the last year. That might even be an exaggeration. And so I'm not caught up in what's going on in the news. I figure that if there's something I really need to know, somebody will tell me. And I should really, I think this would be a perfect sign to have hanging in my office. You know, we all need a dog as our therapist, I'm sure. They have unconditional love. And really what we want for ourselves is unconditional love. Scripturally, it says, love your neighbor as yourself. And we only hear in that particular scripture, love your neighbor. We always forget about as yourself, right? But that self is the most important part. And so just wagging your tail and licking your face until you feel good about yourself. And just to not take life so seriously, don't take our thoughts too seriously. But what you don't know can hurt you. And most of that, what we don't know, are beliefs that we hold in our subconscious mind. Self-sabotaging beliefs which are dictating our behavior. We think it's us that's responding. No, it's an old program. It's a program that might have been there since you were 2 years old. But an essential belief, and when I do muscle testing with people that I'm working with, whether it's on the phone, over Zoom, in person, these are usually the 3 top subconscious beliefs that I want to know whether they embrace or not. I am loved, I am loving, I am lovable. How you respond to life, how you respond to other people, how you respond to the people closest to you, how you respond in your job, how you respond to everything, your finances, your health, can largely be linked to how you feel at the subconscious level about each one of those statements. I am loved, I am loving, I am lovable. And because our beliefs are the building block of our personality. And so for those of you who have some writing material, as you look at these statements, because your beliefs define you as worthy or worthless, and so this is all very private. So as you're working with this in the comfort of your own home, just ponder, do I feel worthy or worthless? Do I feel powerful or powerless? I think a lot of people during COVID have felt very powerless. Competent or incompetent? And maybe that's specific to something. Maybe it's specific to a job or anything in your life, even using computers or technology. Am I trusting or suspicious? Because again, these are all vibrations. Getting back to the title of my topic, change your vibration, change your life. Do I feel like I belong or do I feel like I'm an outcast? Identify at least one of these for yourself. Am I self-reliant or am I dependent? Am I expecting other people to fill my needs? And if we could embrace that God's grace is our sufficiency in all things, God's grace is our sufficiency. Am I self-reliant or dependent? Am I flexible or judgmental? Whoops, sorry about that. And my screen here, let me just see if I can sure how to get rid of that. Loved or hated, judgmental, flexible or judgmental. Am I victimized or accepted? Am I loved or am I hated? So even just sort of taking a moment now that you're here and you're right here and you're not off doing the job that you did today or thinking about what you're going to do tomorrow, just trying to be really present and recognizing when you're not. Just recognizing when you have stepped out of this present moment and gone into the painful past or the fearful future. And because as we do some of the exercises that we're going to do later, it will be helpful for you to be able to identify some of the areas that your subconscious mind may be sabotaging you. And fear, there really only are two emotions, love and fear. And again, it gets back to just being awake and aware of when we've stepped into that fear circle, either around our job security, around our finances, around our health, around our relationships. And then whatever tools that you've learned in the past, putting that to practice. In fact, one of the greatest tools, and Eckhart Tolle teaches this, he says just take 3 conscious breaths. 3 conscious breaths to bring yourself, once you stepped into that fear circle or that anxiety circle, because all anxiety really comes out of fear about something, usually fear of loss. And if when you recognize that you stepped into that fear circle, just be still for a moment, take 3 conscious breaths and start again. Choose something else. Maybe I am safe. Just I am safe or all is well. Right? All is well, I am safe. And just start again and just re-practice some of the old conditioned behaviors that we have as a result of that programming. And guilt is one of the biggest things that I think the world population deals with. Our guilt, our parents' guilt, our grandparents' guilt, future guilt, not even, what we did in the past. We're maybe feeling guilty about what we're going to do in the future or how we're going to do it. Now, this particular tapping sequence here, and again, this isn't about tapping, but I felt with guilt, it was important for me to give you a tool that would help with guilt. And that would be index finger. So right on the thumb side of the index finger, whenever you start to feel guilty about something, anything at all, right? And under the collarbone. Guilt will keep you from recognizing your divinity faster than anything else. Index finger under the collarbone, and then choose again. Just say that I love myself. I love myself. So muscle testing, how to self-muscle test. I have 4 examples here. And because this is an interactive program tonight, please pick one of these. And it doesn't matter, don't worry about whether you're efficient at it or not. This is just a practice drill. This is just something to give you some tools that will help you along the way. So This particular one, you're going to, with your non-dominant hand, in fact, do it with a finger that's a non-dominant finger as well. So I recommend the thumb and the ring finger. Just make a little beak or a little circle with that. And then with the same two fingers of the opposite hand, so you got two little circles, put the one inside the other, so it's like a chain. And then you just say, show me a yes being nice and strong when I pull against that grip. You don't want to be holding on too tightly. And just say, show me a no. And that no breaks that grip in there. So that's one of the ways to do it. The other way to do it is to take that circle and your other little circle, which would maybe be your thumb and your index finger, and put it inside and stretch them apart. So a yes is strong, they don't stretch apart, a no, right? And no. So I could do that with my name as well. My name is Fern. That's because that's what my name is, and that stays strong. My name is Jack. My fingers pull apart. So that would be one or two ways that you could do personal muscle testing. Now, this isn't one that I really use, but I thought that it was a fairly easy one. So you can practice it if you want. So, you know, cross the one ankle over the opposite knee and just try to push it off with a hand, right? And then just say, show me a yes. A yes should be strong, a no will be weak. Or just lifting your heel from the floor and pushing down with your hand. These two aren't my favorites, but if it works for you, then use them. One of the easier ones to use is this one right here. For the beginner person in muscle testing, the sway test is absolutely the easiest. So when you're doing this, you're going to just stand up, and you can do it now if you want. But this is the quickest one to get a yes and no response with. So standing up and your body's relaxed, your arms are at your side, and you just say, show me a yes by moving my body forward. And your body should just tilt forward. Just some people, they just go forward really quickly. Other people, it's fairly noticeable. Then show me a no by moving my body backwards. And your body should just tilt backwards. So for me, my name is Fern, because that's a yes. My name is Jack. We'll go backwards. And so that's a very simple muscle test to do. Now, this is one that I do use fairly frequently. And you take one finger, and I will say, just say your middle finger, but it doesn't have to be. It could be your index fingers, but let's just say your middle finger, and then put your index finger over it. So this would be your arm, and then this index finger would be like somebody pressing down on your arm. If you've ever seen applied kinesiology muscle testing where somebody, I'm not sure if you can see me very well, somebody presses down in your arm to get a strong or a weak response. So this would be a yes, no, yes, no. So my name is Fern, my name is Jack. So you can see that finger just going down slightly. But as I mentioned, the easiest way to do this would be to simply do the sway test. Now, Psych-K, as I mentioned, which is the tool we're going to be doing tonight, and if you decide not to muscle test, it doesn't really matter. Muscle testing will just give you a better idea of where your limiting beliefs are. So Psych-K helps you get to the cooperation of the subconscious mind, because the subconscious mind is driving the car. It drives your mind. And you can change those outdated programs that do not serve you. And it's a way to communicate with the subconscious mind. And as you transform those limiting beliefs, you can start to maximize your full potential. And you're going into a whole brain state, because lots of times these limiting beliefs are stuck in either the left hemisphere or the right hemisphere. Now you're using fully both hemispheres of your brain to process that information, and basically literally changing your beliefs. and taking, translating abstract statements into the language of the subconscious mind. I'm going to explain that a little bit more later. And just quickly and easily change these outdated subconscious perceptions. And remember, you don't have a problem, you only have a perception problem. And perception is our judgments, and our judgments are based on our beliefs. And so now, for fun, if you wanted to practice muscle testing around statements that don't really have any kind of emotional charge, and if you're muscle testing for yourself and you love chocolate and you want to know whether that chocolate cake is good for you or not, you're probably going to compromise your answer because you're too attached to the outcome of the answer. But I don't think anybody's too attached to whether they have a yes or no outcome to any of these statements. So I trust my muscle testing. Yes, self-muscle testing works for me. No, right? I am attached to the outcome when I self-muscle test. And this statement is really important if you're muscle testing. You need to be totally unattached to the outcome, not caring whether you have that chocolate cake or not. So doing your little muscle test for each one of those, getting a yes or no to determine whether when we do the side K balance, whether that's going to be something you really need to do. Otherwise, all you're doing is you're doing the balance on something that you may not have a limiting belief around. No big deal. So whether you muscle test or not, it just means when we start to do some of these belief change work, you might be doing it on things that aren't a problem for you. But those are great statements to muscle test yourself on for personal muscle testing. And so again, just emphasizing why we want to even address our belief systems, because they are literally affecting every aspect of our life, our self-esteem, our relationships, our job performance, our physical performance, our spiritual outlook, our mental and physical health, and our psychological dispositions are that hand-me-down software, mostly from our parents or our siblings. And we're largely unaware of the influence that these beliefs have on our attitudes. But they are a reflection of our reality, and they actually are creating our reality. And Henry Ford said, if you believe you can, or if you believe you can't, you're right. So our behaviors are a direct reflection of our beliefs. So change your behavior, change your belief, change your belief, change your behavior. So it is really like the ant and the elephant. The conscious mind is the ant on the back of the elephant, which is the subconscious mind. And so the conscious belief, right, that I am a money magnet. Well, if you have been downloaded scarcity beliefs all of your life, and you consciously saying I'm a money magnet, that ant is going to follow the subconscious mind into scarcity beliefs, because the conscious mind only processes 2,000 bits of information, where the subconscious mind processes about 4 billion bits of information. It's the master control center of everything that we do. So we think that we're in control. We think that we are consciously making those decisions, but for the most part, we're making them based on all of our subconscious programming. One of the statements that if you're going to muscle test on these ones. I am enough. You know, wouldn't these statements, if everybody in the world believed that they were enough and have enough, wouldn't it eliminate all world wars, all conflicts, all competition, right? I am enough, I have enough. Eliminating the fear of not enough, not being enough, not measuring up enough. I am enough and I have enough. And so it's really just defining what you want and get in sync, or getting the subconscious mind in sync with what you want consciously. And the problem is we spend a lot of time identifying what we don't want, but if we could just take that same, once we identify what we don't want, then make a really empowering belief around what we do want based on the opposite of what we don't. But the subconscious mind is sensory based. So it's totally programmed by what we see, hear, feel, taste, smell. And so all of those things go into that building of those beliefs that we have, both the beliefs that support us and sustain us and the beliefs that destroy us. And so the conscious mind is going to say, I want to improve my surge, but the subconscious, that doesn't mean anything. So if that's your goal, your conscious goal, it doesn't mean anything to the subconscious mind. The subconscious mind needs it to be defined through your senses. Well, what would it look like, feel like, sound like to improve my surge? What would it look like, feel like, sound like to be 20 pounds lighter? What would it look like, feel like, sound like to be in the job of my dreams or to be financially free? Really applying the 5 senses when we're doing the goals, because that's where we're going to bring the subconscious mind on board. And so look through the list and even pick one of these that you would like to do. And then I'm going to walk you through how to do a Psi-K balance. Maybe it's around self-esteem. Because being comfortable with your successes and failures, is there really any failure in life? No, it's just a lesson, isn't it? Eckhart Tolle tells a fabulous story around perception. And really about how much attachment we put to right or wrong or good and bad. There was a young man, and the story goes, there's a young man in this town who wins $1 million in the lottery and goes out and buys himself this beautiful fast car. And all of his friends come along and they say to him, oh, aren't you lucky to have won that $1 million, to be driving this beautiful fast car? And he says, maybe. And within a week, somebody, a drunk driver comes along, totals his car and puts him in the hospital. All his friends come to visit him in the hospital and they say, oh, wasn't that unfortunate that you were driving your fast car and you got wiped out by that drunk driver? And he said, maybe. So while he's in the hospital, a landslide comes and takes out his house. And all his friends come by and say, oh, weren't you lucky you were in the hospital when the landslide came and took out your house? And he said, maybe. And, moral of the story is, how much time are we putting, are we identifying things as good or bad happening in our life when we don't have the whole picture? We only have a few little puzzle pieces. We don't have the whole puzzle. And yet we're making these decisions in our life, and our moods are being dictated whether we're going to be a victim to something or the hero of the story, when in fact it's just a lesson. It's just something to learn from. It's just something to awaken us to our power and potential, around relationships, prosperity, health and body. This one here, the spirituality one, I love. Divine intelligence guides my decisions, right? That's surrendering to divine intelligence. Thy will, but not mine, be done. Because God's grace is my sufficiency. Personal power. Welcoming changes in your life. This last year has been a big change, but if we're in resistance, whatever we're resisting is going to persist. Buddha said, acceptance is freedom. Only what we can't accept is going to give us an issue. Now, that word acceptance could be a whole seminar in itself. So, I won't go down that road, but it's just not being in resistance, doing what we can, but then what we can't change, accept, and having faith in the future, regardless of what the past has been. And I think, again, like those essential ones, I love, loving, and lovable. Albert Einstein said that the most important decision is whether we believe we live in a friendly or hostile universe, because what we believe is what's going to show up for us. Do we believe that it's a friendly universe and others are going to be there to support us, and that there is an infinite abundance? There is no lack, right? Divine intelligence supports me. Or is it a hostile universe? Because then every job that you go to, there's going to be a boss or a co-worker that is going to give you an issue. They're going to block your happiness, or so you perceive. But remember, there is no problem. There's only a perception problem. And so that hostile universe, we're constantly going to have to protect ourselves at all costs. And so what are we doing when we're in protection? We're in fear. And when we're in fear, we are paralyzed. The energy in our body, remember, we're 99.99999% empty space. We are vibrating molecules in an electromagnetic field. We're not this body. We're not even this mind. We are the awareness of our thoughts and our environment, but we are not them. And the myths about change is that it might take 30 or 40 years in counseling, right? No, it has to be painful. No pain, no gain, right? Or you need to know the cause of the problem. No, you don't need to know the cause. It might be helpful. It might shed some other light, but it's not necessary. And change can be as quick in the mind as changing a Word document on your computer that's been there for 20 years and resaving the changes. That's as quick as it can be. It does not have to take years. And it's about really getting at those core beliefs. The universe is a friendly place. I am enough and I'm good enough. I'm loved, loving, and lovable. Really basic foundational beliefs that if those aren't firmly installed at the subconscious level, then it will show up in some area of our life. It will be presented outside of us. And because we are profoundly influenced by the conclusions drawn from our past programming and experience. Every experience we have, whether we remember it or not, right? And most of them we won't even remember. And we spend most of our time, and the word responding is here, most of our time subconsciously responding. It's more like reacting to life rather than consciously creating it. And wouldn't you love to just be able to consciously create your life rather than constantly being in reaction? So Joe Dispenza says we are addicted to the hormones of stress. I had the privilege of spending, going to 3 of his Joe Dispenza's week-long retreats. And I love the way that he marries science and spirituality. It was brilliant. And he's got a great video on there around 2000, just around the turn of this century. There was a video that came out, What the Bleep Do You Know, What the Bleep Down the Rabbit Hole. And Joe Dispenza, I think, got put on the world scene through that, along with a lot of other scientists and doctors and people in the field of energy medicine. And there's a little clip on YouTube, if you can find it, and it's really called The Hormones of Stress. Joe Dispenza, What the Bleep, Addiction to the Hormones of Stress. Because if this is the cell, if this represents a cell in your body, each cell has receptor sites. And depending on the need for something, especially from the emotional perspective, right? There's brain chemicals for every emotion. So if we're constantly going into stress, then you're going to have more receptors for cortisol, right? So the more you practice stress, the more receptors for cortisol, then those little receptors send a message to the brain that says we need cortisol. In order for the brain to produce the cortisol, guess what we have to do? We have to go into our memory about something that stressed us out. We have to go into our imagination, or we have to create something in the moment that will turn on the stress factor in order for us to get our hit of cortisol. It's more addictive than heroin. And the only difference is you don't need the money to buy it. You just have to go into your memory, your imagination, or create something in the present moment that will put the brain into action to give their cells their fix. And so, and that chemical reaction, that chemical addiction to the emotion is stronger than our will to overcome it. And so we get to rewire your neural net with Psi-K so that you're no longer operating from that emotion. So you're no longer being triggered. It might take a little while of practicing, right? Tapping is brilliant for this too. Getting over the hormones of stress every time that you go into stress. Remember we did that one for guilt? That's a form of, that has its own hormones as well, right? So if we're always feeling guilty about something, then start to change, because the cells are replicating all the time. And so are they going to be replicating with the same number of receptors for the same hormones? Or because you have interrupted it, when that cell reproduces, it's now going to have the receptors for the minerals, the vitamins, the amino acids that it needs. No wonder we get sick if the cells are deficient of the receptors that they need to support our health, because they're so filled with the receptors for the hormones of stress. So it's simply about living consciously and maybe having a few little tools in your toolbox to get you over things. And so I'm just going to take off the PowerPoint here for a moment, and because I'm just going to end the part of the dialogue aspect here with this last slide, because this is so important. Our judgment, if we could just give a break to judgment, mostly about ourselves, but about others as well, because what we believe is true for another will awaken that in them. And but just by way of an example, just a moment. Dr. David Hawkins, if you're familiar with him, one of his most well-known books was Power versus Force, and another really good one is the book called Letting Go. But Dr. David Hawkins, he had a lot of extremely highly conscious experiences throughout his life from a very early age, from a young child actually. And he used applied kinesiology as well to determine levels of consciousness. And I won't get into his work, but it's really brilliant work. And he had one of the most successful psychiatric hospitals in New York City. People would come from around the world, and many of them would have spontaneous healings. And the reason they had spontaneous healings, because at his level of consciousness, he did not see the schizophrenic or the catatonic patient or the bipolar or the paranoid or whatever condition, mental condition they were coming to that hospital for. He saw them as pure love and light. And because of his level of consciousness and seeing beyond what was presenting on the outside in that physical mental form, he saw their pure essence as the perfect idea in the mind of God. And him being able to see their true essence, it awoke in them who they really were. And from that, they had that spontaneous healing. And from the perspective, from my perspective, how Christ healed, I believe that that's exactly why people healed with Christ, was because he did not see the infirmity. He did not see the sin. He only saw them as the perfect child of God. What did he say? What doth hinder you? Pick up your bed and walk. Right? He did not see an invalid. He did not see a leopard. He did not see a blind person. And so if we can first of all, practice stop judging ourselves, and then maybe we'll get a little bit better at not judging what other people are appearing to be from their behavior. Because guess what? Their behavior simply is just those downloaded belief systems, other people's software that got installed in them without their even knowing it before an age when they could do anything about it. So let me just exit this for a moment. And here we go. Alrighty. So welcome everyone back here. And so I'm going to show you now how we can do some Psyche balancing. And let's start with the one, I am loved. So what I'd like you to do is cross your ankles. Now, what you would normally do, and let's see. Okay, just cross your ankles and then cross your wrists and close your eyes. And if you want, before you do this, I know I've already got you in your cross position, but if you've muscle tested and you know that your subconscious mind does not support that statement, I am loved, then you'll be able to muscle test after we're finished to see whether that belief has changed at the subconscious level. So it's going to be, I am loved. I am loved. And you're going to repeat that statement to yourself silently as you're sitting in that position. I am loved. I am loved. I always have been loved. I always will be loved. Because my being loved is not dependent upon anyone else's behavior towards me. It is my essence. It is the truth of my being. I am loved. I always have been. I always will be. Totally independent of anyone else's opinion. That's right. Now, if you were muscle testing, muscle test now to see whether that belief statement has changed for you. I am loved. And for everyone on the call tonight, Alice can share my contact information with you. And with all of the statements that we're going to do this evening, I will, got a pussycat there in the picture, very sweet. For everyone's on the Zoom call tonight, with the statements that we're doing, you could call me and I can confirm whether you have balanced these at the subconscious level or not. And if you haven't, then I will walk you through a procedure that will make sure that you are embracing each of these statements. And I'm going to show you a different way to do a Psyche balance for I am loving, right? And because one of the problems, if we don't believe that we're loving, then we're constantly going to be trying to prove it to people. But they're not going to get it because vibrationally, it's not going out. And so it can't be received. So I am loving. So for this one, you're going to bend your elbows and move your hands back and forth like windshield wipers in front of your face. Now I want you to keep your face forward. Keep your face straight, but put your eyes up to the ceiling to the left as we're doing this. Just your eyes, not your face. And it's around I am loving, not your face. So don't look to the ceiling with your face, just your eyes. I am loving. And now take your eyes up to the right. I am loving. Up to the right. Very good. Now extend your arms to the side like you're an airplane. You're a little kid and you're an airplane. Palms forward, arms extended out. Now watch me for a moment. When both hemispheres of your brain are ready, you're going to have your eyes closed in a moment, but watch me first. Your subconscious mind will begin to move your hands effortlessly and automatically to the front of your body. When that happens, bring the new belief into your body wherever you feel it needs to go. So arms extended from your sides, close your eyes, and when both hemispheres of your brain are ready, your subconscious mind will begin to move your hands, close your eyes, will begin to move your hands effortlessly and automatically to the front of your body where they will meet. Now, it's not uncommon for people when they're doing this to sometimes be in this position for 5 minutes or more. Some people it happens immediately. Some people it may take 10 or 15 seconds. There's no right or wrong of how long it takes you. I am loving. I always have been loving. I always will be loving. Allowing your hands to come together, the subconscious mind to bring your hands together effortlessly and automatically to the front of your body where they will meet, taking all the time you need and just allowing the process to work automatically. And once your hands have come together, taking all the time you need, just bring it into your body. Just bring that belief right into your body, wherever you feel it needs to go. And then when the process is complete, just like you are going to save a computer program, that word program, you're going to put your fingertips together. Put your fingertips together. And with your chin level, eyes looking down, focus on the best feeling you had through that process. All right. And then eyes closed, focus on the best feeling you had through that process. I am loving. And so there's the two ways of doing those balances. And then let's just do the one with the I am lovable. I am lovable. If we feel that we're not lovable, we're not going to be able to feel the love that others are extending to us. And then they'll feel like they're always sort of being rejected. But remember, this is all subconscious. This is all subconscious. Okay. And so I am lovable. All right. We're going to do it this way again. Let's do it this way. And if you prefer, you can always do your legs crossed and your hands crossed. But I need to tell you that this way, you're going to know for sure that you've balanced on it because your hands have come together. You're looking up to the left, just with your eyes, not your face. And then up to the right, just with your eyes, not your face. I am lovable. Always have been, always will be. Now, extend your hands from your sides, your arms from your sides, palms forward, eyes closed. And when both hemispheres of your brain are ready, your subconscious mind will begin to move your hands effortlessly and automatically to the front of your body where they will meet. Take all the time you need and just allow the process to work automatically. Taking all the time you need. I am lovable. Always have been, always will be. It has nothing to do with how other people have ever responded to me. That is my true nature. I am lovable. I always have been. I always will be. I am lovable. I am lovable. I am. And once your hands have come together, bring that new belief into your body wherever you feel it needs to go. Taking all the time you need. And when you're ready, and only when you're ready, put your fingertips together with your chin level, eyes looking down, focused on the best feeling you had through that process. for about 10 seconds, and then your eyes closed for about 10 seconds. Focus on the best feeling you had for that process. That's right. Beautiful. Now, I think the next one that we'll do, and I'd really like you to do it this way, is the universe is a friendly place. And you will be absolutely amazed at how much life will open up for you. Having done those 3 balances and this one, the universe is a friendly place where you no longer need to be in protection, where you no longer need to be fearful, but where you are believing at that subconscious level that everyone and everything is there to support you. Right? Because remember, our beliefs are going to bring into us the reflection of what we're believing. So whenever you're ready, and yes, if you do have some water, it's good to take a drink of water because you are moving a lot of energy. And when you're ready, just back and forth. The universe is a friendly place. And back and forth, looking up to the left with your eyes, only your eyes, not your face, remember. I'll look right up to the ceiling with your eye, with just your eyes. Keep your face forward. You don't want to be looking with your face. Make sure your face is forward. You're only looking with your eyes. The universe is a friendly place. Up to the right with your eyes. Keeping your face forward. Look up to the ceiling to the right with your eyes. Very good. The universe is a friendly place. And now, arms extended from your sides, palms forward, eyes closed. And when both hemispheres of your brain are ready, your subconscious mind will begin to move your hands effortlessly and automatically to the front of your body where they will meet. Now, some people, when they're doing a balance where they have a lot of resistance to, sometimes their arms will actually go back instead of forward. That's not uncommon. Just allow the subconscious mind to do whatever it needs to do to rewire your neural network around that belief. And remember, it is no harder than changing a Word document. The universe is a friendly place. Embracing the divine has your back, and God's grace is your sufficiency, and you are that perfect idea in the mind of God. The universe is a friendly place. Always has been, always will be. And feel how good that feels. And then lock it in whenever you're ready. Once you've brought it into your body, just lock it in with your eyes looking down for 10 seconds. Excuse me. Focus on the best feeling you had through that process. Then eyes closed. Focus on the best feeling you had with that process. Very nice. Okay, and let's just stop for some questions now. I'm not sure if you can, if Alice has you muted or if you can unmute yourselves. I guess
Yeah.
raising, yeah.
Everybody can unmute themselves.
Okay. So if you have any questions about anything that we've just done,
Fern, one of the questions that I had is the as with energy, any energy practice, it strengthens as you continue to do it. So what is your recommendation in terms of how often, when, first thing in the morning, last thing at night, in the middle of the day, you know, what's the protocol that
There
would
there really is that. Thank you, Alice. There really is no protocol. What it is it's about being aware. Aware when you've stepped into that fear circle, aware when you have gone into judgment about yourself or somebody else, aware when you're starting to feel guilty. Whatever it is, it's about really living in awareness, not just being in a program of the subconscious mind where we're in constant reaction. Giving that, so this is reaction, there's no space. Give it some space. And once we realize, and so the universe is a friendly place. Maybe, now that's a very sort of general statement around the universe is a friendly place. Maybe you want to do it specific to your relationships, specific to finances, right? If you know that you have some limiting beliefs around those areas, then you can do it specific to that. But you have literally changed the neural network in your subconscious mind around the universe being a friendly place. The world will not be the same for you going forward if you previously held the belief that the universe was an unfriendly place. People are going to show up differently for you now. Now, consciously, you might still have some old behaviors and habits, but around judgment, but you can start to really just, you're going to be more aware. The more of these limiting beliefs that you clear. When I first learned how to do this, I was muscle testing, because during the course, I think it was how I first learned how to do muscle testing. I'm pretty sure it was. And so I was muscle testing every limiting belief that I thought I might have. It didn't matter what it was. I would say the statement, and you say the statement in the first person, so an affirmative. So I am, let me just grab some quick limiting beliefs so I'm not racking my brain on them here. But I would be in the bathtub and I would be doing, I would be doing Psyche in the bathtub. I would do it every chance I got, everywhere I could go. There we go. Here's my book. And so you can get very, very creative, but you want it to be I am or I will. So let's just see here. Give you some examples. So even around, so prosperity, money is my friend. So you would say that statement and you could do your little muscle test, money is my friend. Is that a yes or is that a no? Yes, no. Money is my friend. If it was around grief and loss, you could say the statement, oh, this is a nice one. I accept myself as I am. So that one there, if you're using this as your arm and pressing down on your arm with the middle finger, I accept myself as I am, right? Or no. Yes, no. Yes, no. I accept myself as I am. Or if you're doing that sway test, standing up, oh, yes, I do. I accept myself as I am. Or no, I don't accept myself as I am. So, right, that I love and accept myself. Fabulous statements to be doing. And so anything that I came across where I felt that I had some sort of limiting belief, another one around self-esteem. I trust myself, or I trust the decisions I make. So people that can't make a decision, reprogram your subconscious mind so that you trust the decisions that you make. Maybe you think if you're going to make a decision, it's going to turn out wrong again, right? That last car I bought was a lemon, so I can't trust myself, right? Or that realtor that sold me the house, right? I chose that realtor and they overcharged me, whatever it is, right? So I trust the decisions I make. And so when I first started doing it, Alice, I was doing it all the time. I was doing either the cross the leg balance. Now, when you're doing the cross the leg balance, and the reason that I really wanted you to do this one is when you're crossing the legs and the arms, you really should be muscle testing to see around that specific belief, which way your ankles are supposed to be crossed and which way your wrists are supposed to be crossed. That's why I offered anyone around these statements in case we need to. Normally, once you've done the balance on it, it's done for life. It's not unless you have something that would come into your life. Let's just say around the one, I trust decisions I make. Once you've balanced on that one, then your trust around the decisions that you make should be in a pretty good place. Now, if for some reason you do make a decision that doesn't turn out well, then you might need to do something else around that particular belief. But you'll still have a much higher confidence level in your decisions after having done that belief statement. And so it's going to increase your potential and possibilities in life once you free yourself up from some limiting beliefs that you don't even know you have. And most of these limiting beliefs, they're unconscious, so we don't know that it's the programs that's in the self-driving car, right? We're all self-driving cars because of these programs, but sometimes the car's driving into the ditch or going through a red light. And so let's just change some of those programs. So around personal power, yeah, here's another one, like decisions. So it's okay for me to make mistakes. There are no mistakes. They're just lessons. It's okay for me to make mistakes. Let's just have fun with life. Let's not take it so seriously, right? Welcome changes in our life. Make mistakes. We'll make a lot of mistakes and you'll just learn. And, just getting back to that whole judgment thing, I was listening to Eckhart Tolle's book today on audio, Silence Speaks, and he was talking about, getting around judgment again. And he said, if I had that person's pain and that person's programming, basically that person's life, then I would be, and that person's level of consciousness, then I would be doing all the things that that person is doing. Right? And so why are we going to judge somebody when we don't know what their background is? We don't know what their past programming was. We don't know their level of consciousness coming into this world. Right? So it's all based, and Einstein said the significant problems we face in life can't be changed at the same level of thinking we had when we created them. Well, one way to change that level of consciousness is through tapping and through this process called Psyche. Now, I'm sure there's other ways out there, but those are my two main modalities. One of the other ones that I studied as well, but I hardly ever use, is something called BEST, BEST. And another one is that the core beliefs from that chiropractor. That's another good one. I haven't studied that extensively. I dabbled in it a little bit. So there are lots of different tools out there, and I'm sure that if you're regulars on the Rays of Healing Zoom meetings, that you've had the advantage of coming across a lot of really excellent teachers who can teach you some of these skills. But for the most part, it's practicing being still. It's practicing being present, being conscious, being aware without judgment, no self-flagellation, please. When you step into that guilt around judgment or your behavior, what you did or what you didn't do, just forgive yourself immediately. Forgive yourself. And the more we forgive ourselves, the more we'll be forgiving of others. Because otherwise, we're just going to project that unforgiveness onto somebody else because it'll be too painful for us to hold on to it all ourselves. And so we'll have to make somebody else the guilty party. So the more that we can just forgive and be present and just be in this moment, this present, precious present moment, this miracle moment. Be here now. This is the only moment that we can live. We cannot live yesterday. We're only reliving it in this moment now. We can't live in the future. If we're thinking about the future, we're thinking about it now. Every one of us on this call tonight, if we would just be really present, none of us have a problem in this moment. It's only when we allow ourselves to start telling the story in our mind about what might happen or what might not happen. Right? But it's all a story and we're making it up, and we're making it up based on our past perceptions, our past fears, our past programming, right? And so, but if we can just come back to this moment every once in a while, once an hour, for 1 minute, be present. Just feel your feet on the floor again. Feel your butt in the chair. Take a breath. Just be here now. It's not hard, but we tend not to do it because we are addicted to the hormones of stress. But we can get out of those addictions just by being aware, just by simply being aware. And, another statement, I can feel peace even when the storm is, even when there's clouds are overhead, right? Whatever those clouds are, financial clouds, relationship clouds, health clouds, right? Peace in this moment. The only moment any one of us get to live. There isn't any one of us here that can guarantee we're going to be alive 5 minutes from now. But how much of our attention are we given to the future? And we're totally missing out on our life right now, right? Totally missing out on our life. Just be present with whatever you're doing, whether it's stirring the soup, pouring the milk, brushing your teeth, putting food in your mouth, driving, hands on the steering wheel, right? Just trying to find times when we can be as present as possible. And I think probably my time is getting close to being up, Alice. So if there's any questions, I'd be happy to see what I could do.
Okay. Karen?
I kind of had the same question as Barb. She said, my question is, if the resistance is so strong that the arms do not come together, does repeating it help, and how often? Because my arms did not want to come together during one of the...
I'm so glad you asked that question. That's not unusual at all. In fact, I've seen it many, many times when somebody's arms will try to go back before they'll go forward. And if you find your arms getting tired, you can do it this way. Rest your elbows on the table. Now, I always prefer if people can do it this way, but if not, this is just as effective, and I know because I muscle test. So it's just allow the subconscious mind to bring your hands together effortlessly and automatically to the front of your body. Now, they still might get stuck here for quite a while, the same as they get stuck here. The difference is your arms can get a little bit heavy. But if there was, please take me up on it. And Wendy, I love that. You're balancing on something. Good for you. Take me up on a personal phone call, no charge, and we'll go over the beliefs. I'll muscle test all of the beliefs that we've done on the call tonight. And then if you want me to come up with one of your own that you know that you have a limiting belief around, and then we'll work with that specifically with you. And I can set up a Zoom meeting with you if you want, so we can do this face to face. And so just send me an email, tell me when you'd like to connect. I'll confirm that works. And so yeah, that for some people, I've seen people being opposed for a very long time, but it will work. It will work. And the more your subconscious mind, the more you do this and your subconscious mind knows what is expected of it, you'll find it's happening quicker and quicker all the time with that. So I think that was a question that you both had on that one as well, just in terms of about the arms coming together. So yeah, just be patient with yourself. We do have a lot of resistance to some of these belief changes, so be kind. And sometimes even changing the affirmation will work as well. And you can even say, why is it so easy for me to believe this? In fact, there's a book called The Book of Affirmations. Noah St. John, I think, is the author. And it's really about asking those why questions in a much more creative way. So for instance, one day I was stuck in a major parking lot traffic jam and I had to be back for a meeting that I was hosting. And so I just said to myself, instead of getting all stressed out about being stuck in this traffic, I just said, why is my timing always perfect? And sure enough, I got home and my co-host was the only other person who had arrived. And it was perfect. Why is my timing always perfect? And even if it hadn't been that way, it still would have been better because I relieved myself of all the stress, because all illness pretty much is coming from the energy in the body being constricted. You are an energy being. You're vibrating molecules in an electromagnetic field. You only appear solid. With a high enough powered microscope, you'd see that you're 99.99999% empty space. So don't take that space too seriously. Don't take life so seriously, and just be present.
Fern, I think probably while we're saying the prayer, if you would be kind enough to put your contact information in the chat box, everybody can then write it down right here and now before we, because the chat, everybody has the knows how to access the chat box, I presume. You shouldn't, I'm pretty sure if there's anybody who doesn't, then send me an email at alicejones7@verizon.net and I will send you Fern's contact information. But if you put it in the chat box, anybody who needs it, will be able to have it.
Okay, I think it's there already, and my phone number too. So my email and my phone number are both there.
Okay.
There we go.
Is it at the bottom?
Yeah.
Okay. Why
I don't see it. I don't see it.
I don't see it.
Oh, okay. Let me see it. Okay, I'm not sure why not. Hold on a second. Hold on.
Fern teaches classes, folks, and she's really phenomenal teacher, by the way.
Fern, I apologize. I think the message came through to only me. You'll want to select everyone.
Oh, okay. Sorry about that.
It's okay. I typed to you earlier just to say.
Yes, thank you.
So.
Okay. Oh, there we go. Here we go. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. Got it? I still don't see it on here.
Yes, no, I'm still typing it in here. So
Okay,
just 1 minute. Oops.
Or if you just switch from Boschko to everyone, isn't that?
Yeah, I did. Yeah. There we go. It's just a minute. I'll be with you in a second.
Okay. Five years ago, when I was told I had to use Zoom, I basically said, nope, don't want another job. And I've learned to love it. I love it. I don't know everything about it yet, but I'm trying.
Oh, you're doing a great job. And thank you, Wendy, for that. I appreciate.
Right. Fern M. Wolf at gmail.com, 905-702-4511. And
so it's my first and last name with an M in between at gmail.com. Fern M as in Marie, Wolf at gmail.com.
And that's a very lovely, generous offer of yours, which is terrific. Thank you.
My pleasure.
And thank you so much for this and the that wonderful sincerity of, trying to give, again, new tools, something new, something different, which is fantastic. Because you never know when you're going to strike the chord with the right person, and the person who is participating is saying, oh my God, I could use that. That'll work for me. So I really, truly appreciate your knowledge, your enthusiasm, your sincerity, and everything you bring. So,
well, thank you. Thank you. It's been a pleasure to be here.
Okay. And so we'll do our prayer now. And this time, I think what I'll do is I'll just go through the list on the side. And just as I call your name, you can unmute yourself and put your participant in. So everybody very gently take a deep breath in and exhale. Very gently close your eyes, put your hands on your lap in what I call the receptive position, palms facing up. Dear Mother, Father, God, Divine Infinite Spirit, source of all that is, we thank Fern once again for the generosity of her spirit and her wonderful teachings on changing your vibration, changing your life. We ask for the assistance of the angels, archangels, ascended masters for the following intentions. My son, my daughter, daughter-in-law, grandbaby, all the refugees, all the people who are escaping insurrections, and everybody who is trying to make a new life for themselves, and all the souls that are transitioning into spirit that have no one there for them and may be very, very frightened. And I'm going to go with Fern next.
Oh, do I do the same? Something? Oh, I didn't. Okay, I'm sorry. I wasn't familiar with the format. All right. So thank you, Father, for all of our many blessings in every area of our life, and help us to know that everything is here to truly bless us. And that all we need to do is surrender, to let go, to be, and to stay in gratitude.
Thank you. Wendy.
Ask for blessings for everyone that's here tonight, all those who are associated with Rays of Healing, our political process, our world leaders, and my soul group.
Thank you. Joe.
I
Richard.
pray for my family, myself, Rocky and Zen, Charlie M. and his family, Charlie B., and all who suffer, especially animals at this time. Thank you.
Excellent. Michael.
For my family and my sisters, Patty and Susie.
Thank you. Boshko.
For my family and for everyone to have serenity.
Thank you. Cindy.
I pray for my colleagues at work that they find peace and comfort, and that the leaders in my office figure things out. And I pray for my family, my beloved, and my son and his wife.
Excellent.
And everyone here tonight.
Eve. Okay, we might have to come back to her. Karen?
For my family, for myself, for more peace and less conflict on earth.
Thank you. Christine?
I would like to ask for healing for my family, especially my grandma, for myself, for Benny and Cricket, and for everyone here tonight, and for Gaia and the political process. Thank you.
Thank you. Michelle?
I'd like to send blessings for Moyad and anyone else who's still struggling with COVID side effects, and anyone who's struggling with depression still.
Thank you. Rob? Rob? Oh, he's in meditation. Okay, and Lori, I don't think I've called on you.
I pray for everyone under the sound of my voice, for my family, for myself, for our nation, for the human race, for my race, for peace and kindness, love and light.
Thank you. And we ask, and with gratitude, accept the healing of the angels, the archangels, the ascended masters, the Reiki masters, but most especially Master Jesus, Master Buddha, Master Kutumi, Saint Francis, Saint Germain, Saint Gabriel, Saint Raphael, Saint Michael, the Blessed Mother, the Divine Feminine, Mary Magdalene, Moses, Metatron, Melchizedek, Mohammed, and Kuan Yin. We ask to be cleared, centered, aligned, balanced, and grounded, and that whatever come in for us, come in for our highest good. We also ask to be clear channels of light for Metatron and his healing angels, so that we each receive the highest vibrations of light possible. We also ask for the assistance of the great rays, the lords and masters of the rays, and the archangels of the rays. And we ask that our healing follow and be present for all the intentions that we brought forth for the Rays of Healing Church, for Wanda, for starting the church, and for every single person that may not have been mentioned, but that desperately needs it. We ask all of this in the name of Jesus the Christ and in the name of I am. Amen. Namaste.
Namaste.
And thank you all for being here. And Rob, I know you didn't get an opportunity to add somebody. Did you want to add somebody now as an intention?
Oh, geez. Yeah, my dog,
Okay.
Silas. He's getting up there in age.
Dogs are important. Thank you. All right, guys.
Also, Alice, I'm sorry, I was fiddling with my controls and I missed my turn. This is Eve.
Oh, Eve. Okay, that's right. You're right. Go ahead.
My apologies for that. For my family, my friends, and myself, and for anyone who is struggling financially right now.
Absolutely. And again, we thank Fern for another just wonderful presentation. And next week I'll be presenting, but the third Monday is a little bit different in the fact that I start at 6:15 and we do a healing for an hour. So it's like a Reiki share. And so anybody who shows up at 6:15 or even a few minutes later we'll just concentrate on healing. And then at 7:30 the regular program will be, and interestingly enough, Fern mentioned it will focus on forgiveness, because it's going to be the whole Pono, the prayer, the healing, Hawaiian healing, and the whole topic will be on various forms of forgiveness, and the importance of forgiveness and the power of forgiveness. And as usual, if you are able to contribute, we certainly welcome it. We do have expenses for this, and if you just recently did contribute, we greatly appreciate it. We thank you all, just cherish all of you, and are so grateful that that you're here, and hope to see you next week. Thank you, and good night to all.
Thank you so much, Fern. This was wonderful. Thank you, Alice.
Thank you.
Thank you, Fern. Thank you, Alice. We cherish you too.
Thank you.
Thank you, Fern.
Thank you.
Great.
Have a good night, everyone.
Good night, Christine.
Thank you, Fern. Beautiful experience.
Thank you.
Take care, Fern. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Wendy, stay on for just a second.
Oh, okay.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Fern. Again, that was splendid, but it always is. We can always trust you to bring forth a jewel of a presentation.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So did you want to speak to Wendy and I'll head out?
That would be great. And we'll stop the recording.
All right. You're going to do that, or do you want me to?